Hey, gang. We're back for episode 2 of Agatha All Along, taking up where we last went. Agatha is getting dressed and she's getting ready to go on the run. The boy, who has been hopping around, finally gets the tape off his mouth and asks her to take him down the witch's road. She's like, that's a myth. He's like, no, it isn't. You've been there. And she's, don't know about this. But then he tries to, very funny moment, explains that he's the one that freed her from the spell that wanted to put her under. And so she's intrigued, but she's also like, well, if you can do that, what do you need the road for? Well, because he doesn't feel complete. Don't know about that. Then the locket she found. She opens it up. There's a lock of hair in it, dark hair, just like the boys. And she asks him his name. And when he tells her, this weird sigil comes over his mouth, and she can't see or hear what he said. Might be 4 syllables, the way his mouth moves. So, could be anything. In the credits, he's just called Teen, so that's what we're going to call him here. And she finally agrees, but they're going to need a coven. She says she'll drive, and then she realizes she doesn't have a car. What she had been driving when under the spell was a makeshift car she had built from different household items in her living room. That was the car she was driving in the beginning. So she cuts him loose and asks him if he has a car. And, well, yes, he does have a car. Oh, good. So, as they're going to his car, they happen upon the vacant lot where Wanda had built her spell. There'd been a house there, and the spell that had taken over the entire town and some of the outskirts. But it's all covered in graffiti from some of the blocks that were left there when they were making the foundation, originally before Vision died, and she kind of spits on the ground. Very angry with her. Anyways, since she was a witch and Wanda was a witch, that means in the surrounding area there should be some low-level witches. There always is. Witches just automatically congregate into areas. So they drive around and they come upon a clairvoyant business run by Lala Calderu. And they make up a fake story about husband dying, gold hidden somewhere, and she does the usual. Calderu does the usual. Blah 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 blah. Yes, it's in this section. Oh, thank you. I knew you were a fake. And as they get up to leave, Calderu then starts talking about Agatha herself, finishing with her name. She talks about how you used to have power, you don't have power now, you've got a lot of enemies against you, and why do you think I would help someone like Agatha Harkness? Well, she's a true clairvoyant. So they have an argument back and forth. She needs a coven to go down the road to get her powers back. Calderu's not about to do that. She's like, I know you. As soon as you get your powers back, you'll steal my powers. That's how you operate. Why you gotta be like that for? But she says she'll make a deal that she won't do that, and then suddenly, and Calderu doesn't really want to do it, but then suddenly she goes into a trance. Before that, Agatha pulls out the eviction notice she found on their way in. If they do this, she can save her business. Then Calderu goes into a trance, writes down 3 symbols and comes out of the trance and gives them to Agatha for her coven. Agatha mentions that Calder's name is on it too, so she's part of the coven. Fine. Meet my house this time. Looking at the next on the list is Jennifer Kale, who sells homeopathic remedies with candles and such, and other esoteric things. Like, those eggs that Gwyneth Paltrow was making in her goop thing. That's all I'm going to say about that. But she knows Agatha personally, but she doesn't have any magic herself now because, well, she has a little, but she's been locked down by someone. And she doesn't want to help Agatha. Nobody wants to help Agatha. And the teen pulls up that she's under indictment because her homeopathic remedies have actually hurt people. So, if she had power back, well, who knows? Maybe she wouldn't have to deal with that. Again, give them a time meeting. Next on the list, or I should say the second name on the list, is for Alice Wu Gullivan, or Gulliver, the daughter of a famous rock star who actually was a witch, and legend has it disappeared on the Witch's Road. Daughter Alice works as a mall security. Agatha reveals she had been a actual police officer, but a little too aggressive and got dismissed. So she's at a Hot Topic, watching it over, and Agatha has teen look like he swiped something and try to run out. So when she tackles him, and then the other security guard comes over, Agatha says, "She attacked my boy for no reason," and gets her fired. Then she tries to convince her to join them on their quest to the Witch's Road by, letting her know that, if you do this, you could find out what happened to your mother. But she's refused. Now, there's one more name on the list, but Agatha says, nope, we don't need her, we got enough. They head home. There's a funny bit there where the team puts up "Welcome Coven," and Agatha rips it down, leaving just the W. During all this, she has been noticing different animals watching her. There was a crow outside the Calderoo's. There was a rat at the mall, and now there seems to be a wolf or a coyote, one or the other. I can't. I think it might be a coyote just from its size. Well, there could be a wolf on their road outside her house, so she knows it's coming. Well, those 3 arrive, but they don't have a full set. They need one more, you see, because Calder is clairvoyant. We have so we have a psychic. They have someone who does potions, and which is Jennifer, and of course Alice is protection. But they need a green witch, i.e., someone connected to the earth. What about that last name that was on the list? Oh, nope, can't help us. No. Well, what was the name? Well, she hadn't actually put down names, she'd put down symbols, and that symbol was a black heart. Which Vidal had mentioned she has a black heart last episode. When Agatha said, "You don't have a heart," and she was, "Yes, I do. It's a black heart." That's why she didn't want to call on her. But they need a 4th witch. She goes, oh, all right, yes, I have one. And she goes next door to her neighbor, Mrs. Hart, who is just a bubbly little old lady, also happy and helpful, and she's gardening, and says she's having a little get-together. She'd like her to come over. So she grabs her purse and comes on over, and leaving teen upstairs with Senior Scratchy, she'll call him when the door gets open. And they go downstairs, and they all gather around, and they're going to sing the Ballad of the Witch's Robe, which will open a doorway. Ms. Hart doesn't know this song, but she'll go along with it. It sounds fun. And so they sing the song. Really cool song. And nothing happens. And then Agnes just lights into all of them, insulting them and calling them useless and worthless. And why did she ever have da 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 da? And they all start to spark up with their power until Calder goes, no, 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 no. You were trying to trick us into attacking you so that you could try and steal some of our magic. What little we have left. Ugh! She was that close. Because technically she doesn't want to take them along. She wants to go herself, by herself. But meanwhile, upstairs, there's a mysteriously black-robed figure in the street that morphs into Seven. Now, Teen is throwing stuff in front of the destroyed door that Vidal had destroyed last episode, and is trying to blockade it, but it doesn't work. They're getting through. Meanwhile, downstairs in the argument, a doorway appears on the floor, a hexagonal door. Agatha pulls it open. Stairs leading down. About that time, Teen comes running down the stairs and goes, "We gotta go!" and runs down the stairway, the circular stairs. So everybody else starts going down, Agatha being last, and the I guess the main one of the Salem 7 is coming after her, doing this little exorcist spider walk down the stairs. Very creepy. Agatha jumps through the doorway, slams the door shut, and just as the other witch gets there, door's disappeared and it is sealed over in stone. So they all meet up down at the bottom. The road is before them in this creepy, fog-laden forest, very reminiscent of the 1939 Wizard of Oz, Yellow Brick Road. And Agatha takes her shoes off, as does everyone else, because you can't travel down the road with shoes on. You have to have bare feet to the road. You have to have that connection. Even Mrs. Hart does. And they set off. So, really good episode. I love the almost Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven montage of them gathering up the coven. That made up most of the episode. And digging Agnes's now witchy robe, which is very Puritan-like, because she came from the 1600s, but modern. And she's wearing her brooch. And a lot of speculation online about who Teen is. They're thinking it might be Nicholas Scratch, thinking it might be Wanda's son. I think it's Tommy Maximoff, who was Wiccan, a magic user mutant, like his mother. Or the second Wiccan, which was also named Tommy, called I don't know. I mean, one of the clues they dropped this episode was he gets a phone call from his boyfriend that he has to send a voicemail because, and that, you know, Wiccan in the comics was gay in a later incarnation. So, yeah, a lot of great little clues, as always, with this series, just like WandaVision. A lot of little things you see all over the place. My favorite was last episode where there's a Stephen King novel clearly shown in the library, so that it reference back to, you know, or an homage to King. There's a lot of he was especially back in the 80s and 90s, the horror writer before we got some other ones. But I mean, he's still like one of the top tier. And I don't catch most of them. I'm too invested in just what's going on there, so I don't do a lot of clue looking But I am curious to see who the team will turn out to be. Wondering if Dahl will show up. I think probably, since the actress Audrey Plaza is a very big name, and you don't just use them for like an opening episode. So she's going to be popping up at some point. Plus, I don't think Mrs. Hart is a witch, although it may be a good twist that she turns out to be a green witch herself, given all the gardening things associated with her. And oh, she was also the neighbor that hit Team with her car last episode. But yeah, liked this one a lot too. Looking forward to episode 3 next week. I think this whole thing wraps up by Halloween, so we only got about 5 weeks left. And of course, the last two will be like the first two. The last two will be at the same time. But please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.